Good evening, everyone. Today is Sunday, and I will be doing something just a little different instead of the usual card making demonstrations. If you're just starting off and you're just wanting to find out like basic things that you need in order to start off, I thought I would just share with you what I used and how I started. And just with basic supplies. So if you do enjoy this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and of course prescribe to my YouTube channel so that you will see all the videos that will be coming up every Sunday. So without further ado, let's get going. So the first thing that you must have, of course, are scissors. So I have a set of scissors here. I choose to have really huge scissors, that's what I call it, and then a little step down, at least four. you know I have different a few more there that I accumulated, but this is really like if I want to cut something, something wide or long. Say if I wanted to cut this and I wanted to get as much cut without having to just be doing those little itty bitty cutting through, I have this big one here for that reason. This one is pretty much the same, just to cut something and just cut it right through without having to cut it halfway. Example, if I wanted to cut this here, let's see, yeah, if I wanted to cut this, and I wanted to get all the way through, then I cut it right through. I don't have to use a little scissors or anything like that. So these are why I have those big scissors. And then these are like little just for like little corners, or if you want to cut around things like flowers, or just have a little more for fussy cutting. I use this one for, and you could get those anywhere really, because I'm in the Family Dollar stores. You could get at Walmart. You could get any, so anywhere really. And this is just a little tiny scissors if I want to get a little more, like something even smaller, that I want to really have a little more control going around corners and in between little grooves and things like that, and I want to fussy cut. I use this one as well. The second thing here would be paper cutter. Now, to be honest, if you cannot afford a paper cutter at this time, it's okay to have like a ruler if you want, but you'll just have to measure, be able to measure your paper in order to cut it. Having a cutter actually is it helps to save you some time. Now this one I got, this is a Martha Stewart. I got this one at Michael's, and what I like about the Martha Stewart is very portable. It's handy. I've had it for I think over 2 years now, and it has at the back a little storage for blades. The good thing is she has in this here, it has both the scoring blade and the cutting blade, so you can choose to switch it out. And it, I have had those and stored them. Then all you really need is to change those blades when they get dull. But I have not really had to change them, to be honest. I just kind of clean it up a little and pass a little oil on the edge. Just be very careful, and it would be cutting like new. So this one expands. So if say I wanted to do 2 cards, I would actually be going from, actually it would be 4 1/4, because we're going 4 1/4 lengthwise first. So you'd actually be cutting all the way down, and then once you fold each piece, then you will be coming out with the 5 1/2, by the 4 1/4. So you can also get those that have dual blades. They have like the cutting blade and the scoring blade on the same run. So it's entirely up to you, but something that works for you. The next thing would be glue to stick smaller things. That, at least that's what I use it for. Look at this flower here. If I had this flower and I wanted to just stick it onto my layer, then I have glue just to stick it on. So that's one option. And sometimes when you want to use to attach your mat to your bottom layer, Some people use glue, and that's fine too. For glues, my best glue I would say would be the Tombow Mono liquid glue. This one I got at Michael's, and basically it dries fairly quick. It has a narrow tip, just a tip for sticking those little flowers, and then it has a broader tip on the other end for maybe for wider areas if you want to use that. I always ended up using this part because I use it more for to stick the flowers or things like that. I also find this one here, the Aleene's clear glue, that works fine too. I like it. It's pretty close to this, and it dries up really nicely, so that's an option. And this one I have here, it's the Elmer's Craft Glue. It's a tacky glue. This I use, but not much. I have it there, but I don't use it all the time. But this is also a good craft glue you could have. I think this is about $3 and something cents at Michael's, so that's an option for you to look at. Then I got some actually reverse tweezers. I realized after a while, like to hold things, to place them, like, instead of having your hand all over your glue and everything like that, you can hold it with the tweezers. Again, where did I put my flower? Okay, see, like picking up things like that. See, you can hold it like this, glue up, and then it helps you to get your decoration where you want it to without having your fingers all in it and getting all sticky. Not that you won't get glue on you, but at least it's an option. It helps you to eliminate having to have your fingers all over your card and everything like that. So, and I also used to use it to pick up like gems. If I wanted to pick up a gem or something, then I would pick the gem up and get it stuck. So this helps in places where your hands are kind of big and clumsy, or fat fingers as they say. So this is a reverse tweezer. I don't think I spent much for that. I just cannot remember. I had it for a while, but I would recommend that you have one of those just in case you need it. Then we're looking at tape. This is my favorite one. I'm not talking about the brand really, but I'm talking about the size, because this tape runner here, it holds quite a lot of tape in there. Let me see if I can open it up so you can see. I've used it quite a bit, so it might not be that full right now. I always forget how to open this thing, to be honest. Okay, there we go. Now, so this is basically what inside looks like. You can refill it, and what I have done is every time Michael's has like 50% off or something like that, what I would do is I would go in and I would use it to buy the refill. I think the refill is like $12 or something like that. I vaguely remember, but I have the runner. It's convenient because you don't have to be using those little the smaller runners that run out on you, but this one, it goes a long way once it's with the refill. So this is what I use to attach all my bases to my my layers, sorry, to my card base. So once I use the bigger layers, I just go ahead and use the runner at the back, and then I use my glue for the smaller things. So that is an option. However, there are, I mean, if you want to start off small, that's fine. You could always use the smaller runners. I used to get them, as a matter of fact. When I first started, I got the 5-pack, I think, at Walmart for, or is it a 4-pack for, I think it was 4 or 5 something, I can't remember, and it was what I had started with. So this has been my saving grace, and I enjoy this one. So again, a tip runner is always an awesome option to have, and they're available at Michael's or any craft store. And of course, they're the smaller ones, again, like I mentioned, that you can use if you want to start off small. Now, I also went ahead and got markers. I just got like these markers here. These are dollar store markers. What I do is I kind of use the markers, if I need to. When I use like photo paper, I kind of like using photo paper on my when I make cards sometimes, because I like the gloss. So I go ahead and I stamp it out, and then I go ahead and color with the markers. They are kind of a handy thing to have in case you want to you know, add a little extra color or something, that works. And I mean, it's just like $1 for a set of, I don't know, 12, 24. It just depends, but that's regular markers. However, I wouldn't recommend using it on like paper much because it kind of makes, I think the wetness kind of makes it looks grainy. But these I only use basically when I am using anything that has a glossy surface. The other thing too, when I started, I was using my printer and my computer. What I was doing is I had the sentiment basically printed out on this paper. I would type it out on my computer and print it out on the size of paper that I want, and I would actually place it inside, which is basically what I am still doing, because I feel that's the best way to get you know, the personalization done. So I leave the inside blank, but depending on what you would like to say, or like, you know, to whoever it is, then I go ahead and do it on the computer, and then I print it out on the paper, and then I go ahead and stick it inside the card. So that's another thing. If you have I mean, if you don't have stamps and these sorts of things, you could always use that option if you want, you know, to put sentiments in your card. Use your printer, use your computer, make your templates and just change words, or you know, however you want to do it. So it's good if you have a printer and a computer. Then let's look at the paper. I always like using 110-pound cardstock. I always get my cardstock at Michael's, so I always use the 110 for the base, because what I have found is that it holds, you know, gluing and everything, and it does not sip through. So you're not seeing like glue marks and, you know, string marks, whatever it is. And as far as the colors, I would say if you have white, maybe brown, it just depends, you know. Some I see a variety packs, like you might get a pack that has green, light blue, brown, you know. It's entirely up to you, but at least if your base is 110-pound, that is the, to me, that's the best one, and I like the 110-pound. Then as far as adding my matting onto my cards, I use the 65-pound. It's not very heavy, but at least it is sturdy enough. And this is what well, this one is a pattern paper, but it's kind of roughly about the same thickness and feel to this. And then the trimming of the black that you see here, it is made out of 110-pound cardstock. I'm sorry, 65-pound cardstock. So doesn't make it very bulky. It makes it nice and prettier and nicer once everything is stuck. These sentiments here that I have on this little banner here is made out of the 65-pound. So, you know, and even the cutting out the motorcycle is also with 65-pound, and I used fun foam on the back. So, you know, these are the papers, the weights that I personally have used and recommend. As far as ink, I have a few inks that I like. This actually is the one I use for most of my sentiments. I'm not sure why I like it, but it is called the Craft Smart ink pad. That I just like how it, you know, it comes out, and I use it a lot, and I like it, to be honest. Now there is also pigmented ink. The pigmented ink, sorry, what I have found is that they are, I would say they're rich, if you want to say that. They're rich, and they stay on pretty good. So what I have found was when I use the pigmented ink, and I'm going to demonstrate that for you. This is the VersaFine one, which I found to be really nice, and I'm going to show you here what I mean. So this is just a flower that I have, and I'm going to just make sure I have enough on here, and I'm going to go ahead and just get it stuck on here. Now, what I like is, just it's just rich. It's so I like that one, this one as well. So I'm just going to show you how that one is. So the first one was the VersaFine. This one is the Momento ink. So I'm going to get it out. And as you can see, this one is a lot darker. And it's actually dry already. It's dry. That's what I like about those two. They dry pretty quickly. And I'm going to show you the craft one. I mainly use black. I started mainly using black, and that's okay. You don't have to have too much of different inks and things like that, because I found I end up still using more black than anything else. So I'm good with black. So let me try this one here, which I have. Well, you can see the difference. Okay, this is the Craftsmart is lighter, and then the VersaFine, which is this one, and then the Momento, these are really rich and they dry quickly. This dries as well, so I like it. It doesn't always look this way, but if you are to get inks, I would suggest you either get the VersaFine ink, which is pretty good, and the Momento ink. So these are my recommendations, but preferences are always options. And then stamps. I would recommend that you get like something that has everyday sentiments, like thank you, happy birthday, maybe happy Easter if you want to do Easter cards, or Merry Christmas. So just basic stamps. And this is not a basic Samstead, but this is for my religious cards or anything that helps to bring hope. Like this one says, be joyful in hope, faithful in prayer. So that's, as time goes on, you develop and you get different stamps that you want. However, I would still recommend you be very careful, because when I first started doing my cards, I got so excited that I was just buying everything. I saw this here and I saw that, then oh, I can use this, and that's, I just keep going on. But technically, I would strongly recommend that you start small. This basically is where you need to be, just very basic supplies. So you could start off and then just start giving it to friends and family for free, like I started. Let people see what you can do, and in that way they would see, well, oh, I like that. And that's how I actually started getting sales on my cards, because I was giving them free. So if there's anything that you would like me to go over, or any other recommendations, feel free to leave the comments below, and I will be more than happy to answer. This is it for now, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Be safe. Bye bye.